Hello again, and welcome to the latest bulletin from Haverhill UK News, brought to you by Haverhill TV. In the news for today, Tuesday, March the 12th, the showdown over High Street pedestrianisation turned into a damp squib last night as Suffolk's Transport Supremo ducked the main questions and scuttled away from the meeting early. After a few weeks' lull, burglars and vandals are back in action in Haverhill. And why staff at Haverhill Leisure Centre will be spending all day at work in their pyjamas on Friday. The much-anticipated visit of Suffolk County Council's Transport Supremo to Haverhill to explain the axing of High Street pedestrianisation turned out to be less of a showdown and more of a damp squib. Councillor Guy McGregor had brought along council officers to explain their current plans for shared space and connectivity, and showed little inclination to take on the arguments of a packed meeting at Burton End School Hall. Over 70 people turned out to the public forum of the town's Safer Neighbourhood team, which had invited Mr McGregor to explain his decision to end efforts to achieve pedestrianisation. He began by hyping up hopes for the reinstatement of the Bury St Edmunds to Stansted Airport bus via Haverhill, which would provide us a 100-minute journey to the West End, he said. When residents asked him to refocus on the issue they had asked him to come and talk to them about, he handed over to the highways officer responsible, Suzanne Buck, to talk about making part of Camps Road one way and the merits of shared space, and list places in England and abroad where it was successful in operation. Audience members were permitted to ask one question each, with Town Clerk Will Austin outlining the Town Council's case in favour of pedestrianisation and eliciting the first round of applause of the evening. Residents spoke of the vitality in the street on Saturdays, the only day it is pedestrianised, and asked why this could not be tried all week as an experiment. They were told this was not possible legally due to objections from stakeholders. They asked about a rear service road and were told the land was not available. They urged the County Council to make sure they got the scheme right and did not waste any more money. And some residents said the inability of the police to enforce parking and traffic regulations was unacceptable. Suzanne Buck said she had some sympathy with that view, but understood the police had other priorities on limited resources. Then residents began to complain that Councillor McGregor and the County Council were not interested in listening to what they had to say and didn't care, which led Councillor McGregor to make a vigorous defence of his efforts to improve Suffolk's market towns. At this stage, Haverhill County Councillor Tim Marks, who was chairing the meeting, closed the question and answer session with several residents still waiting to ask their questions, because he said they were running over time. Councillor McGregor then left the meeting, and disgruntled residents followed him and tried to continue their protests in the foyer, while the Suffolk's new Police and Crime Commissioner, Tim Passmore, who was another guest speaker, began to talk about his hopes for improving policing. He said he had seen how high feelings were running during the debate and promised to look into the staffing of Haverhill Police sector. No one actually asked Councillor McGregor to justify his decision directly to the meeting, and he did not attempt to. He merely stated that after the elections in May, there would be an all-day seminar in Haverhill on the issue to bring all the stakeholders together. A similar seminar was held last week in Sudbury, where the County Council wants to pedestrianise the High Street and the Town Council is opposing it. Now, other news. After a few weeks' lull, burglars and vandals have been back in action in Haverhill over the last few days. Another garage in Henry Close was targeted in the early hours of Sunday. Police are appealing for witnesses after frozen food, CDs and DVDs were stolen from the garage sometime between midnight and 10 a.m. on Sunday. Anyone who saw anything suspicious called PC Daniel Aston at Haverhill Police on 101 or Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. A garage in Henry Close was targeted overnight on the previous Saturday-Sunday, the previous weekend. Police are also asking for witnesses to a spate of damage caused to vehicles in Templars Court on Tuesday last week between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. A number of cars had their wing mirrors forced back while a van had its window smashed, but nothing was stolen. Anyone who saw anything, contact Haverhill Police on 101. And a white Vauxhall Corsa was broken into while parked in Greenfields Way sometime between 10:30 a.m. and 11:40 a.m. on Friday. Window of the car was smashed and wallet and contents were stolen from inside. A van was broken into while parked in Bishop's Close sometime between 11 a.m. and 12:25 p.m. on Friday. 2 windows of the van were smashed and a Samsung Galaxy tablet and TomTom sat-nav were stolen. And a black Peugeot 207 car parked in Clements Close had the front and rear near side door scratched with an unknown object sometime between midnight and 11 a.m. on Thursday. Anyone who knows anything about any of these incidents, call PC Richard Oldroyd at Haverhill Police on 101 or Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. And finally, staff at Haverhill Leisure Centre will spend all day at work in their pyjamas on Red Nose Day to raise money for Comic Relief. The staff will make donations to Comic Relief to have a work pyjama day on Friday. Duty manager Kirsty Millard will also be running the equivalent of a marathon on a treadmill to raise funds. Plus, there will be a chance for customers to guess the number of sweets in a jar, and all Flume ticket sales for the day will be donated to Comic Relief. Well, good luck to them is all I can say if it's as cold by then as it has been. Join us again on Friday and go to www.haverhilluk.co.uk or follow us on Twitter. And here is the weather for the rest of the week.